Yeah, so once again, welcome to the Discount Party podcast, the dollar store version. Yeah. Today, we're gonna talk about a special manga that finished last year in 2016, aka the Year of Hatred. I apologize for my voice because I'm still pretty sick. But we're gonna talk about Toriko. And with me today, I have Mr. Falcon Punch 996
Hello.
and Lunar Spiral 1127.
Shut up!
Yeah, Toriko. I guess we'll start with something basic, like how did you guys discover the series? I'll go last because I want to rest my voice. Somebody go.
Oh my god, me. Okay, well, I guess it's because I heard about Toriko. I guess it was around the time I was in college or something. And, well, I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I just wanted to read it to see how it is, and I guess the more I got into it, the more I really enjoyed the series. I especially loved the Rigo Mammoth arc, the Ice Hell arc. Cooking Fest was awesome. So yeah. and of course I even checked out the anime. Big fucking mistake, that's for sure. I mean, well, to be fair, the anime wasn't bad. It's just once they got to the Cooking Fest arc, it just went.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, back in the day, I used to be a massive, One Piece fan. Like, huge. It was, my number one favorite series of all time. Nothing could touch it. So, one day, there was a crossover of Toriko, and I was like, oh, who are these characters? And I kind of found out, oh, these are other Shonen Jump characters. Like, it was a crossover and all that shit. And I watched that episode, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with Toriko? I'm probably never going to read this series. It's fucking weird. Because it was just there was this, big pig thing that was on, had grill on its back, and then there was Sunny, and, Sunny was just weird. It was, some guy, rainbow hair, just flying around. I'm like, it wasn't really the greatest first impression, but, a year later, I heard people talking about it, since I think at that point, Toriko was probably in the Gourmet Pyramid arc, and people were, talking about it, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just check it out, because, I was pretty much up to date with everything I was, reading and watching at the time, all the shonen series I was watching and reading. So I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I'll read the manga, because I heard the anime was pretty bad. So I'm like, I read the manga, I read the first chapter, saw the Garara Gator. I'm like, you know what, this is some good shit. And then at first, I thought the whole concept of food was kind of lame. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, it's pretty cool. I like food. It's a series about food. And men hunt food. I'm like, yeah, it's... Then I read it, and then it finished. And now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember how I came across Toriko. But it was actually, I was watching a person's video, and they were saying some things about it. And that's kind of what caught my interest, because I think I was still still pretty heavy on the Fist of the North Star phase, after finishing it. So I was looking for stuff that was kind of similar, and I've been hearing a little bit here and there that supposedly, a Toriko had a lot of similarities to Fist, or at least, if you look deep enough. And then the one video that I saw is kind of what sold me on it. The YouTube video was actually from someone we know.
Oh.
He's in the fandom group. Can you guess who it was?
Oh, wait, was it me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I think I remember that video.
Yeah, that was before, we talked, so...
Yeah, back in those days. My scrub days on YouTube when I didn't know what I was doing. I think around those times, it was I was trying to keep my YouTube channel a secret. So I would be in my room and be like, hey guys, it's Mr. Falcon Punch.
Yeah, before the porn started. This.
Oh, yeah, well, what the fuck over.
Yeah, it was this video, I think, the manly man of anime and manga. Because you described that zebra being similar to Raoul.
Yeah. So he had a big horse.
Yep. And then, I'm trying to remember, my experience reading it, or, how I first started. I know when I caught up, the manga was in the 4B start, but upon reading it, it was actually making me think of a lot of different things. I don't know, I was just giving it a chance with the whole, food gimmick. The thing that caught my attention was later on with some of the subtle Fist of the North Star references, the fact that the four adopted boys trained by this one elderly man. The fact Toriko's fighting style is kind of similar to the South Star. Everything used to be in a post-apocalyptic setting until recently, where the Gourmet age we brought everything back into a stable society, and of course the whole manliness that there was to it, and the savagery. Yeah, I remember watching the anime, wondering whether to watch it or not, because I stumbled upon it on Best Buy for like $24, $25 for like the first set. It just barely came out like that same weekend. So I bought it, gave it a chance, and I decided, I'll just watch it anyways as I read it. And yeah, I was noticing the differences between the two. But I know people don't like how the anime ended, and even though a lot of other incomplete shonen series kind of go the same route. But I think more than anything, I am more mad at the fact that Funimation, or that it sold so poorly, that Funimation wasn't able to dub the rest of the series, or even license the rest over here. So, yeah. I mean, I was kind of hoping to at least get the movie. What was that?
It kind of like stopped.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just didn't sell. And it's kind of weird because I remember watching this one, well, not watching, listening to this one podcast on I forgot what they call themselves, but their main gimmick's actually manly stuff.
No.
Yeah, I have to look what they called them. But they were talking about different series from here and there, and then at one point they brought up Toriko, and basically they said that Toriko was sort of like it might have popped up either too early or too late, at least in terms of anime. Well, in my opinion, I think it came too early. But I'm gonna try to rephrase what they said from what I remember. They were saying that the characters themselves, they look very manly, so it appeals to older people, but it would keep away all the more modern fans of modern anime. Also because JoJo itself, which a lot of people kind of got introduced to masculinity through that format, wasn't around yet. Because that would also help with the fabulous aspect because of Sunny. I mean, no one winks at Sunny anymore. No one guesses him about the way he dresses or his hair or his narcissistic attitude. But the part where I feel that Toriko might have appeared too late is that I remember one of the complaints going around was that people were saying Toriko's about food and it seemed dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the YouTubers mentioning that it was always about food, and that always just irritates me.
Because the other thing that I heard I'll let you go.
No, it's just I mean, that was my first thought as well with Toriko. I always thought, it's like fighting foodons but more manly or something.
Fighting foodons.
To be honest, I would probably watch that now.
Yeah. Oh, Takito, you're so offensive.
When I got to read more and more into the series, I got intrigued. I got interested in it. It just felt like a genuine shonen for me. I always felt like that there was actually more to it than just food. I mean, yes, there is food, but there's other aspects into it as well.
Because I remember when Walking Double Dead was starting to get into Toriko, he was really liking it mostly because of the fact that the characters were adults, and that's something you don't really see anymore.
Yeah, especially in the shonen.
Yeah, especially now. They're definitely Gintoki's the only adult right now.
Yeah,
and his series is almost coming to a close too.
Yeah, the only exception would be One Piece, and some of the characters are adults, like Frankie's almost.
Yeah, technically they're.
Yeah, Frankie's almost 40. Well, that's something.
Well, I mean, Luffy's in his 20s right now, I believe.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think he was. He's not mentally 20.
He's not mentally 20, exactly.
No.
Yeah, but almost I think all the Straw Hats there are at least over 20. I think maybe exception with Chopper.
Yeah.
He's the youngest.
Unless they have
he's a reindeer.
Yeah, unless they have some sort of reindeer year type of thing going. Well, mentally he's a child. That's for sure. For Chopper.
Yeah, mentally in One Piece, no one's really at where they should be.
Yeah, no one's a full adult, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, the complaint I was hearing for Toriko was also that, the whole food thing, that it seemed like it was about cooking, which in actuality it was more about the hunting than the cooking, even though cooking would play later, bigger roles in later parts of the other arcs of the manga. But then like 2 or 3 years later, after the Toriko manga and anime were like getting on the air, there was a show called Shogeki no Soma or Food Wars, and then everyone was liking that. And
You know why?
Yeah, I know why.
Yeah.
You know why.
Yeah, I
You know why. Oops.
Yeah, because a lot of people.
Foodgasms.
Yeah, foodgasms, and then a lot of people weren't actually familiar the fact that there actually is a gourmet genre. At least that's what I think it's called. When it comes
Yeah,
to
no, there
anime
definitely
manga.
don't mean just simply cooking, but there definitely are plenty of cooking shows.
Yeah, and usually
And
most of those cooking shows, they're not like realistic cooking at all. It usually is like outrageous, hot-blooded, or comedic. I mean, I forgot the actual title, but Yakitake
yeah,
Japan.
Yakitake Japan, like the bread one.
Yeah, the bread
Yeah.
one. That one's more like slice of life-ish comedy, like some
Yeah.
outrageous comedy, but it's about bread. So, and then you get stuff like
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of cooking shows out there.
the only one I can
like
remember.
Toriko, I think, is the only one that actually blends cooking with the hunting, because
Yeah.
most of the time it's just like going out buying the thing.
Yeah, like Mr.
Yeah.
Achiko is like more on the battle tournament style where you gotta put in your energy when you're stirring the damn pot. But
Yeah.
what makes Toriko different in that aspect of the gourmet thing is that there's actual battles. And the rest, it's more
Yeah.
like about competitions. This, like even My Love Story, there's like pieces of gourmet genre in there because of Takeo's reactions whenever Yamato would bake all these different pastries. And then at the very end, the final episodes end with a fucking food competition. So, yeah. So then again, I just feel Toriko like really popped out too late because JoJo wasn't around. That way, people would have adjusted a little easier to the whole like fighting gimmick and the outrageousness of it. The same thing goes for like Food Wars, and then I get Food Wars because once again, the whole food cooking gimmick. Not many people were like
Yeah, no, I
accustomed to
could
that.
pretty much imagine Shimabukuro
Yeah.
being pissed off when Food Wars became popular. It's like everyone was making fun of me for cooking, and then this motherfucker comes along, and everyone loves him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what you're saying about it coming too late, too early, it was pretty interesting, because the way I always looked at Toriko was that it was kind of like the best of both worlds for both old and new school shonen fans, because it had everything older fans wanted, like older main characters, the more manly style and everything. But everything a newer fan is probably more adjusted to, with the kind of like big open world, kind of colorful and everything, kind of goofy, all that kind of stuff. Because Shimabukuro really he likes his shit.
Yeah.
In the series. He has another series called Takeshi, and like that series has not gone a chapter without referring to shit. So.
Yeah, Takeshi.
He really likes shit.
There's 3 chapters as a recording of this video. It's hilarious, but it's also surprisingly manly. The thing is, it's pretty honorable and respectful, the Takeshi character. And even though he's in first grade, it's wow.
He looks like he's 40.
Yeah, I am a boy.
Yeah, oof, yeah, he takes that to the extreme.
Yeah. It's pretty strange, but it's a good type of strange. Because, I mean, he does
I wouldn't mind it getting an anime adaptation, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a bit too late for
he's
that,
a good
maybe.
boy. That's the best way to put it. He's a really good boy. It's just the thing.
It's weird calling him a boy, though, because when you look at his face, it's like... Yeah. He has a very manly face.
I don't know what he's supposed to sound like either. That's the big question.
Well, see, there was an OVA, and the OVA he was voiced by, I think his name's Cho, who's the guy who does Brook in One Piece.
Yeah, because he sounds...
Really?
Just imagine a voice like that on a little boy.
Yeah, it sounds like an old dude, but I was trying to think whether you're supposed to sound like kind of childish, like a kid trying to sound like a man, or straight up man. Because like, hello, I'm Takeshi. I'll be your friend today.
Oh God, no. It's weird.
See, yeah, that's the whole thing. It is weird. Because, like, it's, this little boy who, like, his father used to be a leader, and he himself wants to be the best leader in the whole world.
Oh, by the way, it's very emotional, but it's right off the bat with chapter 1. It's like, oh, damn, I didn't expect this. I just wanted to see some shits and giggles.
Literally shits shits in good.
Yeah. But no, it's like right off the bat, like my father used to be a leader. Then
Oh yeah. Then it's just like then you see his father now, and he's just like, yeah, Takeshi.
Like.
But anyways, I think we should go back to Toriko before we go straight too far.
Takeshi does make cameos in Toriko manga panels. You just gotta look for him. So.
Oh, that's true. And he's mangaka little cameos.
Yeah, so Toriko, again, I feel like the problem is that I still don't know whether it came too early, too soon. I think in terms of like current anime fans, it came too early. But I feel like Toriko has become a bit of a niche type of thing. It's not exactly like I mean, it was popular for a while, like 2 years ago, and then it just dropped off by its last year. Really dropped off.
Because Toriko was like taking the world by storm, for a while. Well, okay, not the world by storm, but like, the YouTube anime community at least. You got people like, Toriko's the greatest. You got like little YouTube channels called like the Toriko Dick Writing Association and shit like that. A lot of popular manga reviewers were starting to talk about it, or like ones that weren't giving it a chance were giving it a chance at that time. It was all pretty good.
I remembered seeing like the Shonen Jump covers, like whenever it shows like the big three, like back when Naruto was still around and Bleach was still around. When like Bleach, like it barely gets like a cover itself, and Toriko gets covers itself more than Bleach does, and it had like the potential to be like one of the next contenders of the big three,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a while, I guess it kind of was once Bleach kind of fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Bleach wasn't doing so well. I mean, I haven't really gone back to check out the series, so I want to know, but like that ended last year as well. But see, like Toriko was doing really well for itself, and then like the last arc was just kind of weird. Like it felt like it was rushing.
The final arc, or the
the final arc, because like everything leading up to that was fine. Like it was like Toriko looked like it was heading in a really awesome direction. But then Toriko kind of came down with this disease I've told Hiro about plenty of times, called like Part 2 disease. And it happens to almost every single shonen manga. It's like whenever a series has like a Part 2 and they go to like a brand new part of the world or whatever, or there's a huge time skip, it almost always seems like there's a big decline in quality. Now, some series manage to make it out of it. Others don't. And I'm pretty sure anyone who's read a lot of shonen manga probably knows what I'm talking about, because it happens to a good majority of them. And Toriko was kind of like heading down that path. Because like, beginning of Gourmet World, it was all hype. It was a lot of hype.
Yes.
And then there was like no payoff of it. Because it was hype, and then there was monkey balls, and dancing, and hype, and then it was just like, don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, I mean like, the beginning of Gourmet World, when they got to like Area 8, it was great. It was good. And then you got to Area 7 with Monkey King and Bambina and hair being balls. It just, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just really, really strange. And then somewhere when they got to Area 6, when they got to another, it was like...
Once we went to the oyster blue clam shell thing, that's when it fell for me.
Yeah, that's where it really... Then we start focusing on Komatsu, and to be honest, Komatsu's not the most interesting. The whole... I mean, I'm pretty sure none of us here really like Komatsu.
I don't
hate him.
I make it a running gag to say that I hate him.
I mean, I don't hate him either, but he's not really a character like I want to focus on. And for a while, there was a couple chapters that were mainly focusing on him, and it's just like, I thought I was reading Toriko, not Komatsu.
Yeah.
Because, you gotta be on... Well, to be fair, Komatsu is actually one of the main characters. He is part of Toriko's combo, so I was expecting Komatsu to get some, development, and some main focus. But my issue with this time skip is that we had, 3-4 more areas to explore, and it was all skipped.
Right. Yeah, that too. See, and I don't know what's going on in, offices at Shonen Jump. No one really does. So, I'm not sure if it was just Shimabukuro, he was being rushed Because there were some parts that felt rushed, and then there was other parts that felt like it was slowing down, and then like it rushed back up again in the final couple arcs. So like I'm not sure if he was rushing to finish because they're going to just axe the series anyways, or if he just had no more interest in the series, or if that's just maybe how naturally he wanted to do it. I'm not sure, but
honestly, I felt like that there were signs of it rushing right when Komatsu and the others came back and they already gotten another, and they looked older for some reason, and they had to retell that arc in a flashback.
I feel like it would have been better if we just didn't bother with the flashback. I mean, you got us there by surprise already, so just continue from there, rather than taking a few steps back. So why make the sudden surprise a surprise to begin with?
And then there was like the whole big final battle, which all things considering, like scale-wise, was pretty impressive. That's the
that's the biggest. It was the most insane out of anything Shonen Jump. Actually, I want to say.
Yeah, like for the longest time, I think since Dragon Ball, the Shonen manga hasn't done like that extreme yet.
Yeah.
It was very extreme. I mean, like, the Earth almost got decimated.
Well, also not to mention the Earth itself is like bigger than a regular Earth, so if it was like a normal sized Earth, then they would have exploded a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, when I was reading the final battle, like, I felt like that there was all this hype, but it just lacked something to me.
Exactly.
I don't know if I was the only one that felt that.
I was actually telling this to Falcon when I was reading the Ippo manga, that when you're into like long running fights in a manga, especially when you don't know how long it's gonna be, like it's kind of hard to get into the flow of it, like to know, especially more so on something you gotta read on a weekly basis, like just to insert yourself into that mood and then keep that mood blazing for week after week. And it's very difficult. And the other reason why is that, which made me feel kind of uncomfortable with what was going on, was obviously the jumping back and forth between multiple characters, multiple fights, and then I was still confused with what was going on with Acacia. I had no idea, like, bad guy,
oh my God,
good
Acacia.
guy. What are the Nitros doing?
I don't know. I mean, like, at first it seemed like it seemed like at first like Acacia might have been like a good guy working with Blue Nitros to get Neo out so that they could seal him for good. Turns out, but then there's a time where he's like, oh, he's corrupted by Neo. Or no, he's actually bad guy this whole time. Oh no, he's actually good. He was just acting like that so that they could try to kill him and get rid of Neo. And Neo's good now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I don't know, I probably need to reread that final arc.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to wait
till... Like, again, like Hiro was saying, we're reading it on a week-to-week basis. Maybe, like, marathoning it might just flow a bit better.
It would probably flow better, but it would still be rough.
Yeah, I mean, it still has, like, pretty jarring moments with, like, just... Because there are certain parts I just kind of wasn't clear on what's going on. I'm like, oh, okay, this happened.
Yeah, because now with the second time around, you have an idea like what the big picture was supposed to be. So now you go in with a certain goal in mind. Yeah, because
at least the way the series like wrapped up was probably like the final couple chapters. Felt like they wrapped up somewhat nicely.
Then again, even when New World started, it just felt like an awkward start because it looked like, oh, we're gonna save Komatsu, then oh no, he's already saved. Huh?
Yeah.
What?
That was so weird. It was
and then like they had different character designs too, and then they just like oh no, you know what? I have a beard off.
Let's go back to what we look like. So
it's like, what was the point of the time skip then? You're not changing your character design. You skipped the plot line you were having before the time skip.
Yeah, then they rushed their new plot they resolved it very quickly, which was there's no food. Then Toriko comes in with a bunch of food, and then the problem solved.
Hey, look, there's this million egg birds. Just look at it. Popping out eggs left and right. So yeah, I don't know.
Actually, like, my issue with this part, with Toriko, I guess after the time skip was like, there was a lack of focus on certain characters that I wanted them to get focused on. Like the Four Heavenly Kings, for example. I mean, Coco, Sunny, and Zebra.
Yeah. Zebra, they really didn't get to do anything.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, man, my boy Zebra didn't do shit.
No.
No, they didn't even get involved. They got involved in the final battle, but they didn't do anything cool or noteworthy.
Yeah, they were kind of.
I know, because he was finally like raunchy, and I'm like, oh yeah, these two, they're gonna go in, and then they didn't do anything.
He's gonna be with, his name is Brunch in English.
Oh,
okay, I don't care. I call him Brunchy.
I was always confused because I've heard some people say brunch and then brunchy, so I'm like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, because I know.
Well, originally it was Brunchy in the Scanlation, but they changed it to Brunch.
Yeah.
I guess what Toriko would make. Actually, no, because in Toriko, I don't think there's that many food pun names.
Not really. And
actually, the
Funimation dub actually is the one that.
I like what's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the Funimation dub is what threw in a lot more food puns in its lines. Like, Toriko every now and then.
Really, though, I think it's how Toriko could have benefited itself, because I still remember that one line in the manga where Midora is just like, eat my fist. I'm like, yes, finally someone said that in this manga.
Eat my knuckle sandwich.
Have my knuckles. I'm like, you don't know how long I was waiting for that. Like, I actually got out of my chair. I'm like, yes, someone said it.
Actually, Midora was pretty boss, like, towards the end of the series. The one line that got me, like, very impressed is when he's fighting Acacia, and Acacia was telling him, like then she would come, even when she would still cook for me, even when I come home, even covered in hickeys. And then Midora just got so mad, he just punched the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's when he said, like, eat my fist. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, you don't talk shit about Froze in front of Midora.
Don't talk about my mom. What'd you say about my mom?
Yeah, you should talk like that about anyone's mom unless you're expecting an ass whooping. Just like, I was kind of just asking for it.
I gotta say, though, Midora, I felt like he was the best character in Toriko, at least development-wise, because he had his own flashback. We got to understand where he came from, what he'd been through. And honestly, he had the best development.
Yeah,
his character.
Yeah, his story went full circle. I mean, we find out what he was evil, and then had a change of heart towards the end.
And, tried to atone himself, and then he finally got what he wanted, to have a meal with his family.
Yeah, then their souls rest in peace. Yeah. And also there was the whole Rao Toki fight from, like, way back.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it shocked me how it was like almost the exact same thing towards the end of the way that fight ended. It was like, well, that's familiar. Well, actually,
it kind of it was doing good for itself. It was just kind of. I mean, it's still an overall good series.
Yeah, it is.
Almost everyone really tried to sell the show. They really tried. Toei tried. Funimation tried. Especially Toei. Because look how many crossovers.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake, because I think after Toriko, that's where a lot of the Toei hate started coming in, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, they were really trying to sell
after that, that's when everyone was like, Toei is shit, this is that, and just nitpicking everything Toei does.
Yeah.
I mean, like, One Piece started going down the same route, too, but not to the extreme.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, there was the OVA when they, like, adapted the Galagator.
Right.
And everybody loved that. Yeah. Because it was adapted very nicely. It didn't do any censorship. It was exactly how it was in the manga.
I also think it was the colors, because I think the anime at times is just a bit too bright. Like, I understand, like, Toriko, like, the world's colorful. But, like, in the anime, it's, like, almost, like, too colorful for a series that could get,
it's always bright.
It's like, am I watching a Shonen Battle Adventure, or are we walking down the lovely lane to see the Wizard of Oz? Just like, make up your mind.
We're in Candy Falcon. We're obviously in Candyland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, actually,
Flapjack.
Yeah, actually, a missed opportunity was Chocolate Factory. They never did that. Never did it.
Oh, boo.
Never did. Toriko never went there.
I know, it's such a shame that the Toriko anime started going downhill. I mean, like, unlike other animes had fillers, and if it did have fillers, it's always short.
Yeah.
That was the shame with Toriko. Because, like, a better studio probably wouldn't help.
but also I believe it also relied on other series like Dragon Ball Z and One Piece with the crossover episodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's what I
Green Knight.
yeah, that's what I meant with they were really trying to sell this show, and then it just never caught people's
That's how I
interest.
got into Toriko because I don't really say get into it because that crossover with One Piece didn't really sell me on it. But that's how I found out about Toriko. I remember there's quite a few people that I've heard of that like they normally got kind of like introduced from
Yeah,
crossover.
yeah. Basically, they were trying to promote it as much as they could because even when Gintama, they cameoed like in the second Gintama movie.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, right off the bat,
Yeah,
you see them there, and
yeah, and
then
then didn't Gintoki, Shinpachi, Kagura, they also cameoed too?
yeah, they cameoed in the second Toriko movie, like in the background. So yeah, and then obviously the Dream Nine, the Dream Nine crossover with One Piece and Dragon Ball, like that was the biggest one they had. And then those two other times where they cross over with One Piece.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely had
I
exposures
think
that.
Toei like predict like we're trying to make it like because they knew it was like a big series on Shonen Jump, so they're trying to think like, okay, this could be our next big thing, and it wasn't doing that well, so they're just
Uh-huh.
like, oh crap, we have to do something. Like we put a lot of like effort into this one,
Yeah.
and
I
then they
remember
kind
like
of
in the time block, I remember that they aired it on like Sunday mornings or something in Japan, which not really would have been a good place to air Toriko, frankly.
Yeah, because I know like that it got more kid friendly with things, but I like the adaptation. But also there's stuff that I question about because okay, if your goal is to try to sell it for like more younger audience, obviously I get the whole censorship deal. But then what I don't understand is that a lot of the comedy that was in the manga wasn't in the anime either, which I find pretty odd. Like a lot of the goofy looking panels, they weren't there. So I thought, you should have capitalized
Yeah.
on that. So, no idea.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can like get past the censorship in the earlier arcs, but then when they eventually got to shoot,
Four Beasts.
what's that arc? Well, when they learn, no, when they learn gourmet luck, food luck,
oh yeah.
Shokurin Temple, that one.
Yeah.
That's when they started like showing some things that you weren't expecting. Like for example, like Toriko's bones
Yeah,
fight
yeah.
against Chio. Like you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, that's when the censorship was starting to go away. Like in the Four Beasts arc, I remember that's when they started showing a lot of blood when they were fighting. And then like the bloodiest fight by far without censorship was Sunny versus Tommy Rod, which probably is the best animated fight of the whole series actually.
Yeah. Even though it was censored, it was still really cool to watch. I'll admit.
Yeah, maybe that was around the times, and this was like kind of like a little before the anime started to end.
Yeah,
They're
that
like,
was
oh
that was
crap,
more like
maybe like
I guess that was like a little last hurrah, like we might as well just go out with this, and then the budget was dropping like every episode. Like it,
Especially
Well,
when
see,
they got to
after that,
the
like one
invasion.
Dragon Ball Super interview, I'm not sure if it's budget or new animators.
whatever excuse they
I
whatever excuse they
think
want
so.
to whatever excuse they want to say, like nobody knows. They're gonna keep it a secret what really happened.
I always feel so bad. It's kind of like throwing the new animators under a bus. Yeah, it's the new animators. They suck. It's not my problem though.
So what assholes. That's not true.
Like, geez, man. Like, why have to be
But
so mean to these guys?
I think at the end of the day, though, what really killed Toriko was just not enough support for it for like anybody. Because you got like the manga fans who they weren't interested in the product, and you got anime fans who weren't interested in the product because they thought it was dumb, and then you got the older fans which probably gave it a chance, but oh, actually, this goes back to what I was gonna say. I forgot to mention this. Like they were saying that the character designs of Toriko were like keeping people away, but to those who were interested, it wasn't like completely manly per se. Because what they were, I don't remember the exact wording, but they said that it got the look of the show, but it doesn't feel exactly like a manly series from the '80s. Like it's still missing a little something, and that's kind of also the problem that
Well,
I
see, because
noticed.
it's like, no, kind of what I was saying. It was like, I guess maybe that's probably what went wrong. It tried getting the best of both worlds, but it didn't. Because like Toriko's basically if you just mix match an '80s shonen with a current shonen, and then I guess I didn't really do an extreme. Like, for example, like another series I kind of did the same thing, but probably wasn't as critically successful, but just ended up doing a better job at it. It was like probably be like Kongo Bancho, where it managed to still, be like an A shonen, but at the same time just enough to be like a modern kind of
Well, one of the difference with Kongo Bancho is that it was acknowledging its it was in a realistic setting, acknowledging the current times.
Yeah, exactly.
And, the fact that, like, this 80s character shouldn't be in this time period, so...
Yeah, no, that was, like, the first chapter. It's like, they don't make people like you anymore, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, then, obviously,
and afterwards, he go do...
Yeah, then the social commentary of pretty much, like, the problem with Japan, like, with the otakus, the yukikomoris, and then the Akihabara, the maid cafes... Pretty much everything. Yeah. The thing is, even the villains had that same mindset. They didn't like what was going on either. So that's what kind of makes it work.
Toriko side note for anyone, like I think it was like chapter 9. I forgot what chapter it was, but like when Kongo goes to like a maid cafe, the chapter is like hilarious as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, just find that chapter and read it. It's like fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'll link it.
Because he just goes in. Yeah, he just goes in. Just like on this maid cafe, and then it was like even like one of those like live action Sentai shows.
Yeah.
That they like have in public. He was just tearing everything to shreds. It's like, why the fuck are you guys doing this? If you go punch someone, punch him for real.
But then again, I think the other problem is just support, because the one for sure that's clearly obvious is that anime support was like almost non-existent over here. I mean, I bought the DVDs, but my efforts weren't enough.
Did Toriko go on Toonami or
nope?
Oh wait, no,
I don't think it ever.
It never on TV.
I'm not even sure if it aired on like. I'm not sure if it's even streamed. I know Crunchyroll has the subbed episodes, all of them, because that's the only place where you can watch all the episodes in good quality without having the clock in the corner or the channel logo on the side. So yeah, that's one benefit of the Crunchyroll version. Yeah, I'm actually not sure if the dub's even streamed either, because currently, originally Toriko's DVDs were released like 13 episodes on 4 discs, 4 sets. I already have those 4 sets, and currently those 4 sets have been combined into 2 sets, and they're still not really selling. So,
okay, here's what I found out. Okay, so Funimation licensed Toriko in 2011, and it was for streaming in North America 4 days after the Japanese broadcast. It even premiered on Hulu and on Funimation's official website on April.
Yeah, but not on the actual Funimation channel then, or any channel per se. Because
the lack of support probably hurt the series as well.
Yeah, more than anything. Because if anything, I want to say the manga is the only thing that's being supported. But even then, I feel like Toriko's probably a bit more on the niche side of things, which is kind of weird saying.
It was breaking out popularity. Like, where did it really?
It started. It was during the whole food. I was gonna say food wars, but the Gourmet Fest. That's when everything went like.
I mean, there's a little before it. Like, I want to say maybe Gourmet Temple. That's when I started.
A lot of people say that when it got good is during the Ice Hell.
Yeah, Ice Hell.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I remember a lot of people when I was getting into it, people were like hyping up the Ice Hell, and I'm like, oh, I guess because I was already kind of into it. Because once I started, because at first I didn't like the food concept, but as of now I'm way more open-minded about the kind of series I watch. So I'd probably watch any series about food now. But once I actually got used to the concept and everything, I started enjoying it a lot more. So I was really into it after the first couple chapters. But I think that was the problem when most people were describing it. They're like, oh, it's about cooking, but it's like we were saying, it's more about the hunt. And I think if you were mentioning hunting giant monsters and shit like that, it probably would have got more people in, rather than just saying it's all about food,
Yeah.
I think you got a point
hunting
there.
Sounds way more cooler than just
I think you got a point there. Like, a lot of the reception of Toriko was mostly negative, and a lot of the people that were talking about it didn't even go that far into it. So,
like, if you just told someone Toriko was like manly shonen, man versus wild, like I guarantee people probably there won't be more people.
It's a man that hunts his own food. He goes out in the wilderness and eats shit. killed a
Like,
tiger.
yeah, fuck Bear Grylls, you have Toriko.
You got gators, man. He's gonna eat a gator burger straight from the
He
swamp.
lives in a house made of candy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which I'm just like, what about the bugs, man? That's kind of like.
Well, yeah, that and Toriko's
Well, what sold
ridiculously
me for
rich.
Toriko?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Toriko's ridiculously rich. Also, so, like that's not exactly like. That's not actually something you would think about, but he's very loaded. Well,
yeah,
other
Goku.
yeah, well, other characters. Well, obviously, all the rich folks in Toriko, like that old guy, like he was obviously more loaded than. Yeah, there's like an elite people that are loaded, but for a gourmet hunter, like the Heavenly King Toriko and his bros, they're all pretty like pretty up there. And the thing is, I feel there is some depth to it. It just doesn't explore it too much. Like a lot of the concepts are like people being superficial, and I feel it could have led to something a bit greater. That and actually I have a problem also with Toriko's narrative because well obviously the whole God thing didn't get introduced until like a little later like with Grimpatch, but
Oh, yeah.
one of my problems with Toriko is that it's kind of the same problems I have with Blue Exorcist in a very simple matter, and it's noticeable by watching the anime openings of both shows. In Blue Exorcist, the openings that you notice that there's hardly any villain spotlight because that's standard for a shonen. You gotta have a little like 10-20 seconds dedicated to the villain in the opening. That way we know what we're going against. And obviously in Toriko we see them towards the end, and of course they're focusing on Tommy Rod, Grimpatch, Starjun, and Midora, who's in silhouette at the time. But the actual show itself, it really takes a while just to see those characters like for the first time, and even then, those villains aren't exactly recurring either. And I think that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, like Tommy Rod gets killed. Grimpatch, I don't know what the fuck happened to him. I think turned into poison or some shit. Starjun,
he stays.
well,
yeah, that and the main villain himself, like obviously the big baddie, you gotta wait a little bit for him, but all the henchmen though, they rarely came. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
He had potential.
Villain wise, because like some arcs didn't really even have a villain. It was just whatever they're hunting.
It was just going after it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really set up like a battle shonen.
Well,
Like,
the one thing I do find interesting that I don't think I've ever seen a battle shonen do this between the heroes and villains, that the villains were about the same level as the heroes, and both of them were like competing to gain who would gain the power up faster. So I think that's a first really, where the villains weren't that much powerful than the heroes, and they were like in the same boat of they weren't already like at their strongest, they were still like trying to get resources.
Yeah, like also at the end of the day, they all had like jobs to do too. Like Toriko was like I forgot what they called it.
Ishokia.
Yeah, and then
the
villains had their own like organization.
Yeah,
too.
called Bishokukai.
Yeah. So like they all had like their jobs to do too. So like I also found that interesting. So it wasn't like they're just doing all this on their own. It's like they had a job to do.
Yeah, so it kind of goes a little bit on the slice of life approach in some stories, a little bit.
Because really, the whole thing with Toriko was kind of just like fighting his full course,
which he did.
Yeah, which he did. So that aspect of the story was fine, and then that's like the core of Toriko was like his full course, and then everything else was slowly introduced in.
Yeah.
Everything was like really slowly introduced because Zebra was foreshadowed really early. He didn't come in until like more than almost halfway later.
I thought the series forgot about him for a while. I'm like, wait, is this guy in the Japanese group? Like they just forgot about him. Like,
oh god, no.
We only had 3. That's what I was thinking, but then luckily he had a really awesome introduction. I'm like, oh, he's around the group.
Yeah, it was fucking badass at the beginning.
Zebra's introduction was incredible. But then, like, after his introduction, he just goes away, comes back, goes away, and then, like, after that, he's like...
Yeah, especially when they're, like, setting up something, like, he had, like, his own goal to, like, get, like, his own full course just so that he can get Komatsu.
Komatsu will be my
Actually,
bitch.
Komatsu was like the Yuria of the series. Everyone wanted him. Like, I'm surprised the series didn't continue enough for like them to like start like killing each other and backstabbing each other. And like I don't know, maybe someone to poke holes into Toriko's chest and like throw him off a cliff. And you're like, Komatsu!
Like,
Yeah.
Toriko!
It's actually funny considering, like, Toriko was actually more upset of losing Komatsu than he was about losing Akasia.
Yeah.
No, not Akasia. But, Ichiryu.
Yeah. They got him depressed.
Komatsu.
Everybody wanted Komatsu.
Yeah, they want the little...
It would be shit. Like, I don't know, Sunny just like pulls like Toriko to the side and it's like, you know what, I'm taking Komatsu now. Gives him scars and like throws him like this is a gourmet
He
star.
actually wanted him as part of his combo.
All the Heavenly Kings wanted him.
Coco.
I'm not sure Coco ever like brought it up, but I think he did like his company like a
Coco was
lot.
pretty chill.
Yeah, he knows
Like
like,
everyone like Komatsu.
Coco knows
Yeah.
like 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 there's no room in there for me.
See, Coco is like Toki. He's just like, no.
No, love's not my thing.
Love's not my thing. I'd rather be like
I'd rather be a bro.
poison fortune teller Jesus.
Yeah, Coco, Coco's mindset is like Toki's bros before hoes.
To the extreme.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, three out of the four, like, very, very resemble like Fist of North Star characters, except for Sunny, who has more in common with Yuta than with Jaggy.
Oh god, yeah.
I always felt like Coco and Sunny should like switch names because like Sunny looks more like a Coco.
Yeah, that hair. Like, I'm Coco for Coco Puffs.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I was about to say Coco, but like I meant Sunny. Like Sunny was actually pretty cool. Once you got to like see more of him,
His Satan hair.
and then yeah, and saying it. I mean, I kind of liked him a bit before that because like the whole hair, like the whole like feelers and everything, that was pretty cool. But then the same hair is like, yo.
Yeah.
His hair turned blonde.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it went like he went Super Saiyan 3, but more extreme.
Yeah, more 3.
Well, see, that's the thing with Toriko though that I felt it really did good in was like its scale. Because everything in Toriko was like, go big or just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Not even go home, just like get the fuck out. And then like it was pretty creative. Like I know Toriko
Imagination.
like, fan submissions.
Imagination was his strongest suit for sure.
Because like Toriko was pretty imaginative with its attacks and monsters and locations and whatnot. It was a very like the world building was pretty cool.
Yeah, like
I would say it's
one of the good things about Toriko.
Yeah, like everything about it was just pretty amazing in scope and scale.
It's what sold me for Toriko. It was the adventure, the hunt, the world building. That's why I was so hyped when we got to Gourmet World, because, get to explore.
Yeah, things were outrageous. I mean, you got horses riding rainbows, a shark train, fucking monkey balls, 69 dances.
You got like a horse that could just kill you by like breathing on you.
Yeah.
Or like inhaling.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then just like the power scale, because like, see the thing with Toriko, and I remember I joked about it, because like Toriko for a while, like, I mean the characters were strong, but it wasn't like super over the top. But then, like in some point in Toriko, like I don't know, Shimabukuro just like I felt like he had to prove something at Shonen Jump. He's like, yeah, I could be over the top. I'll show you. And then all of a sudden, he just started pulling out all the stops. The world stopped because the dude punched through it. It was like shit was going insane.
There was
a
dude that can control time.
Yeah, it was a
like fucking like if he had all the powers of the time control stands.
Yeah.
Wait, who we're talking about? I'm actually feel lost. Like who we're talking about?
Okay. There was that spider Saiseiya guy that had the ability to like pause, fast forward, and rewind.
Oh, you mean the one with all the other arms? That one?
The spider.
I don't remember.
I forgot his name. It was that Saiseiya, the spider guy. Like he can pause, like he has the world. He can.
Oh wait, yeah. Midora's the one that fought him, right? I think.
No, I think that was
I don't know.
Tepe.
I don't
That was Tepe.
remember anymore. I don't know. I don't know.
I remember that because there's a spider that can like stop time and actually has the powers of a remote control. It was weird.
Yeah.
He was a
It's
Chojin.
like Shimabukuro was trying to like surpass the ridiculous, over the top hype and power of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like I felt like I don't know, someone in Shonen Jump was just like telling like, "Hey, Shimabukuro, my characters could be your characters." Shimabukuro's, you know what? I've had it with your shit, Kishimoto. Let's go.
Oda's next.
Yeah, Oda's next, you bitch, and then we'll go after you, Toriyama. Toriyama's like, what did I do? I'm not even in the office. At fuck you, Toriyama. Oh.
And then before he leaves, he'd be like, "And Togashi, Togashi."
You just stay in the corner. Stay there.
Yeah, then Shimabukuro. And then for a while, Shimabukuro was proving his point, and then he just stopped. Like,
maybe that's why Togashi wasn't working, because like Shimabukuro had like intimidation. He'd walk into the office, his gourmet demon would come out. Togashi's like, I'm not working today. Fuck that.
I was gonna come back from hiatus, but never mind.
Oh, yeah, who knows what goes on in the offices of Weekly Shonen Jump. But, yeah, Shimabukuro, just like, he went, because like, Toriko was pretty over the top, but like, it almost seemed like out of nowhere, shit was just like blowing up, the moons, this, that, the other were getting sliced apart.
The strangest of animals. You got like giraffes.
Yeah, the animals.
You got
like,
these you got these giraffes that got their heads blown off.
Back in the day, remember back in the day, like a capture level 5 or a capture level 10 was like a big deal. Now we got like capture levels that are over 9,000.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, with Shonen series, whenever they have power levels, I don't even bother like paying attention to them, because like there's rarely a series that bothers with them anymore. It's like they established them, and then like midway through the series, like, you know what, fuck power levels, fuck that, who needs them? Because then you just get things that break it.
Yeah, Toriko went like ridiculous. Well, there's obviously some inconsistencies with early chapters, because if I remember correctly from my Viz translation, I'm pretty sure the official scans say this too, or whatever, is that they actually mentioned Toriko was like the only one that could take on a Garavagator. The only person in the fucking world. Well, that was wrong.
Maybe at that time.
No, it was a level 7 shit. I don't know. Like, anyone else could have done it. Anyone else could have done it too. Like, we could do it too.
Maybe everyone did some training at that point, you know? They went the freezer route. They did like 4 months of training and they came out golden.
Golden. Yeah, golden time.
Yeah, Toriko only got like how many? They only got like 2 movies, right?
2 movies. Oh, actually, there is one lost piece media of Toriko that hasn't seen the light of day.
Oh.
One OVA that never got released. I don't even know if it. No, I don't even know if it actually exists.
Barbarian Ivy?
Yeah, I don't even know if it actually exists, because this is the only image, and information of this is scarce.
Toriko captured the Barbarian Ivy.
Yeah, that's nothing else exists for it, because supposedly UFO Table animated that, but the word on the street is
Votable?
Supposedly, but the image they use right there is straight up Toei. And that's definitely Toei's like designs there and coloring. So, but nobody knows, because some people.
When is this supposed to come out?
Get out of this.
2010. Supposedly, the reason why it never came out is because supposedly it never came out because that's when Toei like got the rights to it. So even though this article says UFO Table, the picture is clearly Toei. So no idea whether if UFO Table made one, only they never got to release it because of Toei, popping it out. Because if you look at the ending of the first Toriko pilot with the UFO Table one, in the credits you see them showing a lot of different scenes of the mammoth, the regal mammoth. So I don't know if this one was supposed to. So
I remember that.
So I don't know if this was supposed to be like, was it that one or the Toriko movie? Fuck, I don't remember. But the point is, it looked like it might have been something to do with the Regal Mammoth arc, because that's the introduction of Sunny in the series, and Coco was there too. So I always assumed it would be about that, but I looked around for this. No one has it. Nobody. So it's technically
Sucks.
It's a lost anime.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm actually making a list.
really?
I'm actually making a list of lost anime, and uh,
Oh, down that bad here.
yeah, because I found stuff that people can't find. It's,
Top 5 lost anime.
actually, it's 10.
Oh, top 10.
Yeah, one of them is
Some get
Satanica.
better.
Like that didn't happen. That was a canceled anime, but whatever. And Gungrave Overdose 2 never happened either. So
Oh, really? That was supposed to be a thing?
I'm not sure, but in the booklet that I have, there's images of Madhouse animating some pictures, like some illustrations of Gungrave 2. So yeah, that's like the only thing that exists.
I mean, it could have been just like scenes
Damn
for
it.
like the game.
I mean, at least with the Phantom Blood movie, we've gotten at least like some scenes.
Yeah, there's proof that it exists. There's that. But
It's a rumor.
yeah,
It's a
but no one can
conspiracy.
see it. Like Araki's like, no, no one gets to see this movie but me.
I
Or
don't know. It makes me wonder how bad it is because some series get bad adaptations and like you don't really see the author say anything about it.
yeah, like,
But Araki was just like, no, no one must see this. Fuck this movie. Burn it.
well, I hope he hasn't burned it. I hope not.
He just keeps it in the back. Maybe it was so good he didn't want anyone to see it.
So it's just mine
Oh,
alone. Like only I can watch it.
This is mine.
He secretly loves it.
Oh my!
Yeah, who knows? Because I actually do have a couple of lost anime stuff. Actually, I was so mad because I thought I found something that was lost, but it turns out they're all just illustrations for an art book done by this one illustrator. Because it looked like there was supposed to be a Dirty Pair 90s anime and a Cyborg 90s anime and a Tekkaman 90s. Because they're all
Oh
completely
wow!
drawn in a different art style, and I'm wondering, oh, is this lost anime that never came out? Nope, it's just illustrations that this one guy
I
made.
know there was a Lost Mazinger anime that came out in the '80s.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called, but anyway, enough on lost subjects.
Yeah. Well, what else is there to say about Toriko?
Uh,
um, what were your thoughts on like some of the certain like plot twists, like Starjun and Toriko being twin brothers, or Toriko having a third Gourmet demon,
uh,
or the revelation that Toriko and Starjun's parents were Cassia and Froze? Like, I
well,
don't know, what you guys think about those?
I feel like the ogre stuff didn't have to go beyond two. Well, because the two thing I get, because that's like part of the folklore, but I don't know why they needed to go like a step further with three and or more. I feel
And
like
I feel like they
two.
did
Especially
a
when they
lot with the
said,
third one.
Mm.
So it's
yeah,
kind of like,
especially when they said the third one was his original, but it was just sleeping the entire. And the worst thing is just it shows up to do one thing, and that's it. It was actually he just comes in, just freaking one shots Neo with a finger poke or flick of the finger or some shit.
Shining finger. As
I
for
I felt like I'm probably one of the few people that didn't like the fact that Toriko had a third Gourmet demon.
mm,
I mean, I was satisfied with Red and Blue, and Blue we didn't even know much about him.
yeah, it just came out of nowhere too.
it literally came
It
out
was
of
just
nowhere.
see my problem with Toriko and all these revelations is just like I don't feel they're like executed properly because like when they were revealed, I'm like, oh, okay then.
It's
Like,
kind of weird. It's kind of weird
they
because
lacked like an impact, and they just like
yeah.
they really did like okay, it could kind of come out of nowhere, but then like at least do something to kind of like more like bring it to the point. But it's just like, hey, this later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with like Toriko and Starjun being brothers. I'm like, what?
There could have been so much
Why?
done with that, so much, and it was just like, oh, look, Sergeant, goodbye.
Yeah, like he has like a heart to heart with Toriko just one time, and then Gourmet luck.
Mm. Like, whoa, you're my bro. There,
Anything else?
Actually, you know what
bro.
actually pissed me off is that like we get to learn like what happened, like why like they were separated from Froze, and it was never explained like how some of this stuff actually happened or what happened. Like, okay, because like you guys know that like apparently they were moved from the womb artificially removed from Froze, kept in the womb, and then drifted off on a boat for God knows how long. And then they eventually got separated.
You know what this reminded me of? Fist of North Star 2.
What?
Yeah, so back to the subject of brothers, and to probably wrap up the Toriko subject, is that in the Toriko brother thing, I'm okay with it, but what I'm not okay with is that they don't really do anything with it towards the end.
They don't.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, there wasn't really that much bonding, it didn't make that much impact, it didn't really provide anything for the characters as a whole. It was just kind of like, it almost felt like a pointless reveal, at least to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what most of the reviews felt like. It's like, oh, look at this, but like, there was no impact to it. That is Toriko. It was a manga, and it ended.
I will say this though, I mean, the wedding chapter, even though I'm not a huge fan of Toriko and Rin together, I'm not even a huge fan of Rin in general, for that matter. The ending, the reception, it was very nice.
Yeah, see, like, that, like, the last chapter was, like, it felt like the proper send-off.
Yeah.
Like, that was a nice chapter. And then they go to space. And now Ren's all by herself again.
Oh, you know...
Toriko would rather be in Komatsu, we all know that.
Actually, you know, Toriko GT is actually legit. Gourmet.
Oh my god.
Gourmet. It starts with the G,
out
it ends with the T.
Toriko cheated on Ren with Komatsu.
Oh.
And, yeah, it was very tragic. But Ren got over it.
She went with Sunny.
Yeah, like, it's...
Oh
it's
no,
really...
that's wrong.
What?
Oh,
Wait
yeah.
a minute, sorry.
Ren went with Sunny.
Oh my god.
Okay, with Coco or Zebra, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, okay, like, get back on track here. The thing is, like, if the manga ended at that wedding reception, where it just, like, you know, just recaps all the ingredients that we've gone through from the beginning to the end, I would have been okay with. But then they had this chapter where they gave us some info about gourmet gods and gourmet god energy and where the gourmet cells originated from, different universes. And that just got me thinking,
yeah.
God fucking damn it.
I remember one of the earlier chapters of Toriko, like one of the volumes I had, they were saying like gourmet cells came from like this squid, something, like some kind of
jellyfish.
Well, I guess I don't know. They probably tie it back. It's like, oh, it's a space jellyfish. Oh, from planet Gourmet Land. Giant
Gourmet
meatball
like
punch.
confused the hell out of me. When I was like reading it, Gourmet like always confused the hell out of me because it's like a magic source. It's like a source of energy used in fights these days.
Yeah,
And then when you get to learn what gourmet luck really was, it's technically just a bunch of invisible entities that help you out.
Yeah.
Like when I first learned that, I was like, "What the really?"
Because we have gourmet cells, gourmet luck, gourmet demons.
So, final thoughts on Toriko series as a whole.
Need where food comes. That probably will solve a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But like it was for what it was good. Because you know they always say endings can make or break a series. So I don't because I remember when Toriko was going, it was one of my more favorite series. I'm not sure if I was supposed to do like my top favorites list and be on there, but for what it was a good time. You know, everything leading up till the ending was pretty good once you overlook the concept, and even then, the concept's not that bad. When you look at any shonen series, the concept kind of sounds stupid, you know. So you just got to give it a chance. But the ending probably could have been better. I'm not sure if it was rushing what was going on. Some of the reviews could have been executed a lot more better as well. Because, like I said, the reviews just they lacked an impact. And then the final battle, you know, it's the final battle, but like there's a lot of points in it where I kind of lost interest. That's obviously something you want to do.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it if someone hasn't read it. They're into shonen, they're into action. Now that more people are more accustomed to manliness, JoJo and everything, it'll probably be another good series. And like I said, it does mix. It has a good balance of what made older shonen series good as well as what current shonen series good. And then also, if anything, for just how creative it could be, as well as like the mind-blowing scale. Because I don't think, as of yet, like any of the current shonen series have really ever gone that far since like the days of Dragon Ball series like that back in the day. Because like I mean, One Piece and Naruto were pretty good at the top. And like One Piece is still ongoing, but like nothing has really happened to the same degree as the stuff that was going down the street.
Toriko. Like, I honestly believe that this was one of my favorite series, one of my favorite entertaining series that I've had the pleasure of reading, and hell, even watching, except up to where the Confessor ended. It had great potential to be a contender of the big three. It had potential to gain this popularity that I believe that would have gotten if it was handled better from the anime and maybe even in the manga. I'm not sure, but I do recommend this series if you're into like adventure, hunting, over-the-top battles, world building, and food. If you're into that, yeah, I mean, who doesn't love it? It does have some issues in later arcs, I will admit, and there is a lot of hype that goes into this series, and sometimes it does, like, it actually, like, builds up to the hype. I mean, it exceeds your expectations, but there are times where it just doesn't, like, work, doesn't flow. Like, the execution is not that great, and I feel like it's because of somewhere around the Gourmet World arc. Like, when they got to Area 6, I felt like that's where it started going downhill in a way. And I don't know, like, why the story was rushed at the end. It could have been because of Shinbukuro, it could have been because of the Shonen Jump, but if it was executed better, this manga series would have been really high. It would have been really high up there. But I really still love Toriko to this day. I am disappointed with how things have gone, but I still enjoy the series. And I feel like that the ending, the chapter before the final chapter, was the perfect ending to Toriko.
Yeah, what can I say? I don't know. I still feel like maybe the world wasn't ready for Toriko. It was also the time where...
too good for all of us.
Yeah. I also feel it's a time where it was still around the point anime wasn't exactly like that widespread compared to now. Like I guess like the last 2-3 years. I mean, look at all the streaming sites and licenses that we're getting to this day. Then I feel like
Toriko came out now, probably won't down the simulcast though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the anime, or maybe if the series didn't come out in like 2011, 2010, if it came out earlier, maybe...
Well, later.
Oh, later, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe then it would have the chance to gain the popularity it deserves.
Yeah, because just about everything gets picked
Truly.
up now. Usually everything gets picked up now, and people tend to like look at things or be more open-minded. I think now than they were back then.
Almost every anime nowadays there's a place that streams it. I mean, you have so many options now. Crunchy, Funimation, Dicey, or that one thing is called, Hulu, Amazon. List just goes on. Netflix now.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on Toriko, like I still like it. Like I want to say it's somewhere between the 20s and 40s for me. Somewhere between there. I know it's like kind of picky where I put my things.
I know, I can relate to that. So.
Yeah, because I still like it, but it's definitely something I need to go back to, like reread from scratch and watch from scratch as well, because I like everything about it. I don't know, because I feel like it.
Definitely
There's like a lot of little bit of everything. It probably the problem was just balancing out, and then things were really going in a different direction. I kind of feel that, looking back at the way it's going, maybe we should have tried to end it, like, have the whole final battle of the Gourmet Eclipse during the Food Fest. Probably should have
Yeah.
had the final battle there, so maybe the anime were right about something at least. Maybe not the way they did it, but, at least to have the final battle right there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's definitely things that could have gone differently. But yeah, I still recommend it, and I still need to like review it at some point and review everything, anime, manga, movies for it. I kind of wish that Funimation at least got movie 2, for more characters and then, to dub it, the Blu-ray treatment or whatever. But I still have this faint hope that maybe Dragon Ball Super will have another Toriko cameo. I'm really hoping for that to actually happen, even though it's not Toriyama related, unlike like Dr. Slump. But yeah, you never know with the way Toei thinks. I do feel they're gonna try to do another One Piece Dragon Ball 1 in the future. Yeah they're big because Toriko was like. Uh, I guess I'll end it with this now. Is that Toriko like what you guys were saying earlier that it looked like Toriko was a contender for the big three, for that. But I also feel that in terms of Toei's lineup, Toriko actually should have been the next one to grab the torch, but Luffy wouldn't let go because because taking it back.
They could have shared.
Yeah, because taking it back, I guess you got Mazinger Z for the 70s, maybe, or Captain Harlock for the 70s, because, that was Toei also. In the 80s, it was Kenshiro. Well, actually, no, 80s it was Kinnikuman first. Then it was Kenshiro. Then it was Seiya. In the 90s, it was Dragon Ball with Goku. Late 90s, early 2000s, it was Luffy. And then Toriko was next in line, but Luffy didn't want to let go of it.
No, it's mine.
Yeah.
Reminds me of my brother.
Yeah, I still like Toriko, but it's a shame, for better or worse, like, it did what it did.
Actually, did Toriko get like a game by itself?
We had a couple DS
I
games.
think it did, yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of them, like about 3 or 4. But yeah, they were mostly Nintendo DS, and then yeah, the biggest one was J-Star's appearance, where he was one of the big advertised characters, along with Luffy, Goku, Naruto, and Kenshin.
How, like, the singer who did the openings for the Toriko anime also collaborated with the J-Star's song, theme song. And that was with the opening singers for Dragon Ball Z and for One Piece too.
Yeah, and Toriko was voiced by Nube, because I like Toriko came and gone, and let's see, like, if people remember this in the next 10 years. I hope they will.
I mean, there's some parts I think that are noteworthy. I don't know, I guess we have to see what Shima Baruko does next.
Yeah, so
once Gintama ends, that's like a whole generation. Oh, there's still One Piece.
Yeah, but pretty much the generation's done.
Yeah.
Pretty much once Gintama finishes, because Gintama currently is its final anime run. And so last word here is the recent Toriko volumes. Volume 37 it comes out in February 7th. Volume 38 comes out in May 2nd. So I'm not sure where the other ones come out, but it's pretty much safe to say that the Toriko manga will finally be released in America by 2018 in total.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the big question is whether the anime will ever get picked up again, because The Gray Man only got picked up because of the new anime that came out for it that continued the story. So
isn't D. Gray Man also just coming back as a manga? Or?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Because of hiatuses and, well, not hiatuses exactly. It was because of some publishing issues. That's all I know. But yeah, that wraps it up for Toriko. So I guess in the comment section, just tell us how do you feel about Toriko, and then yeah, and I guess also you have any suggestions for other series to talk about with other people, like a podcast like this one, then type it in the comments. Everyone say your goodbyes.
Adios.
Goodbye, and goshou-sama deshita.
Yeah. What was the thing they say? Itadakimasu.
Yeah. Thanks for the food.